I want to talk to y'all today about how the news media has lied to us. And if that's a new concept to you, I'm really praying that God is going to open your eyes to some things, some very specific things in this video that I feel like He's been telling me this past week.
So you talk about this thing, the whole world is under the sway of fear right now.
People are more likely to believe in false reports that agree with the fears, beliefs, and prejudices that they perhaps already have.
It's the power of this being spread by people that you know and trust. The sharing of these very divergent reports of what this might be that led to a relative handful of pockets of hysteria scattered all over the country.
There is a conclusion that Satan wants us to make about the coronavirus, about this situation. He wants us to look at all the facts, and he wants us to wind up at this place of hopelessness. He wants us to say, you know what? I should be afraid. You know what? I should be freaking out right now. You know what? I should be anxious right now. And yet, God says that that is actually a lie. If that's where the facts lead us, if we're watching the news every day, we're reading those articles, and it keeps taking us back to this place of hopelessness or fear or anxiety, then we are being spoon-fed a lie. So no, I'm not out here trying to spread some conspiracy theory today, but there is a conspiracy theory that you need to know about, and it's a cosmic conspiracy theory. The devil, Satan, is conspiring against not only God's people, he's conspiring against everyone right now. He's conspiring against the world. He wants us to listen not to the truth, but to lies. And here is the only remedy for that: Jesus Christ himself.
Later, when their bodies were examined in laboratories, it was found that they were killed by the putrefactive and disease bacteria against which their systems were unprepared.
War of the Worlds served as one of the first dramatic demonstrations of how media persuasion works.
In popular culture, it tends to be the narrative that, well, people in the 1930s believed whatever they heard on the radio. They were very gullible. Certainly, we would never fall for something like that. We are no more protected from media persuasion or being fooled in the age of social media than people were back then, and I think in many ways we're more vulnerable.
The New York Times, whose front page headline blared, "Radio listeners in panic, taking war drama as fact, pushed mass hysteria." And it was the sharing of these reports that spread fear.
Then you're quite convinced as a scientist that living intelligence as we know it does not exist.
Say the chances against it are 1,000 to 1.
And yet, how do you account for these?
Phillips, I cannot account for it.
They got themselves in solid. They wrecked the greatest country in the world.
If you've had the COVID test, what are you doing? We got to get it. That's my brain you're up against. It's like 3 inches in there. What are you doing? We're going to test you. Does that make sense? Everybody's walking around wearing something because we could get it. But you got to go into my brain to get it? Why don't I cough on a napkin and hand it to you?
Starting now, we couldn't soap all your windows and steal all your garden gates. By tomorrow night, so we did the best next thing. We annihilated the world before your very ears and utterly destroyed the CBS. Bye, everybody, and remember, please, for the next day or so, the terrible lesson you learned tonight. That grinning, glowing, globular invader of your living room is an inhabitant of the pumpkin patch, and if your doorbell rings and nobody's there, that was no Martian, it's Halloween.